you're telling me that Prince Bandar, within a few hours, called Bush to tell him that 15 of the 19 hijackers were Saudi Arabian, and I got to get my countrymen out of here. Yeah. This is a few hours. This is Bob Graham saying a few hours afterwards. And Paul Jay says, well, how did he know that? And Bob Graham says, well, because it was on the passenger manifest. Well, I looked it up. No, it wasn't on the passenger manifest. There are no Arab names on the passenger manifest, at least not at first. Now 5, 6, 7 years later, for the purposes of the Moussaoui file, it gets a little confused. But on September 11, when they produced the passenger list, there are no Arab names. So, Bob, I think you missed that detail, and that's okay. There's a lot of details. No, come on. I mean, of course. Go ahead.
Barry, maybe follow up by mentioning that George H.W. Bush was talking to some of these people at a Carlyle Group meeting on 9/11. I'm sure you know that, right?
Well, yes, of course. I mean, Carlyle, which makes a whole lot of money, including in weapons of war, is meeting with these bin Ladens. And H.W.'s right there. Folks, this is in your face. I mean, it's in your face. I said it last year. It's in your face. Now, so what, because, I mean, everything's consistent with what we're looking at. Does anybody want to ask me what we're looking at?
No, we know that. I got a question.
Right.
First of all, I want you to know I've spent a lot of time with Richard Gage of 9/11 Truth.
Wonderful.
Familiar with the architects and engineers approach, which I think is the most cogent challenge to the government explanation that's out there. And so, with that in mind, since the 28 pages have not been released, we're forced to speculate, and there's various theories out there. This is the one that intrigues me. The theory goes like this, that the pages do put more emphasis, in addition to what's already in the document, on the Saudi connection, which raises an interesting point. If, in fact, there is a U.S. government instigatory aspect to this, front end, and they were going to have to fund, or they wanted to fund and or create something coming from the outside in, they would want to do it through the tightest arrangement they have, the closest ally they have, particularly to the right people like Bush's, not through bin Laden directly. And therefore, our government used the Saudis to fund the project to create the happening that they knew was coming. And those pages don't state that, but by re-emphasizing the Saudi connection, they open the door for further investigation there. What do you think about that theory?
It's precisely why I'm here. I think you laid it out well.
So you feel that our government, through probably Cheney's office rather than Bush's, had an instigation aspect to this and helped create the event itself?
Look, I'll tell you what. It crosses my mind as I'm preparing for this. This is not 9/11 truth event. No, not quite. Not quite. No, this is a 28 pages event. Right. Okay? 28 pages event. And I want to submit this if I don't submit anything else, the rest of the evening. I want to submit this if I don't submit anything else the rest of the evening. This legislation in Congress is a unique opportunity to open the door. Okay? Are we going to walk through the door? That's a whole other struggle. But I'll say it again. This is a step towards opening the door. And I hazard to add a unique one, and one that we may never have again. It is in fact, should be perfectly obvious. 9/11 is 14 years ago. Plenty of people think it's passé. We have Congress people, and I will say it again, I'll dispute it with anyone, for all kinds of reasons of what they say and how they act. They know what this is about. This is about challenging a system now that is just too out of control, crazy, destructive, not to cop to. Now, look, don't you see, one of the things, Tom Massey says it when he says, the reason I'm coming back to 20, the reason I am now back to interested in the 28 pages is because we're about to start a third war in order to avoid another 9/11. Read the 28 pages, you realize that doesn't make any sense at all, because we're going to war with the country that participated in it. look, folks, I don't know how many people know this.
Can you just clarify that last statement?
Oh,
We're
sure,
going to
sure.
war with what country?
Well, I mean, for example, the current, what we're doing in Syria, what we're doing in Iraq, what we're about to do in Iran,
Exactly.
okay, it's all what's going on in Yemen.
Right.
It's all with Saudi Arabia. So look, this is not even debatable. This isn't mainstream. It's very close to mainstream. The Saudis finance, and send recruits to ISIS. Okay, it is an expression of Wahhabism, which is the Saudi brand of radical Islam. And they've been doing it consistently. And what people have to wake up to is they've been doing it in cooperation with us.
Barry, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make the assumption that someone is not here from the National Security Archive. Are people familiar with the National Security Archive? Because they're right up the street, George Washington University. And if they have not been lobbied to get on the bandwagon and put, because this is right up their alley, is getting the truth out about, documents that are unnecessarily, unjustifiably concealed from the public. That's their whole reason for being. So
let me say this.
Okay.
I mean, I'm glad you're drawing attention to that.
Yeah.
I partly view this as, well, a function of my activism. Okay, I'm sure there's people here that may distribute some of the information I'm trying to impart. But yes, I mean, I think what we need is, I think we need to contribute to the effort to get this legislation passed. Okay, if you have an idea about what might assist that, I beg of you to pursue it. If you need my help, contact me. We'll see if I can.
I can see, if it has not been done already, someone writing a letter to Tom Blanton.
All right, well,
the director
we can discuss that separately.
Yeah.
But I say that to everybody. I say that to everybody. Yes, look, what do I mean by this is unique, and what do I mean by I'm not sure we get another chance? We're about to be engulfed in this presidential election. It's beyond a name. It's all without exception, either silent or celebrating militarism. Listen, guys, I had to read, I've got it in my notes. I had to read it a few times. Bernie Sanders is saying we need the Saudi Arabians to do more fighting in the Mideast. Come on now. I got to say it again, folks. We've got a few congresspeople. They know what they're up against. Okay, they can foresee another Bush being elected. They can foresee it. Walter Jones, Republican, he's right wing. I don't agree with a lot of his stuff. He was the one that coined freedom fry. I mean, he was gung ho. I think part of what happens with him is he starts relating to these broken soldiers coming back. His district is right near Fort Bragg. I know he goes to Walter Reed all the time. I picked up he's a very religious man. And he knows, and he is dedicated to stopping this and knows it's desperate. Walter Jones, when he's talking about these 28 pages, that's what he says. I've got the quotes. He says, we need the truth contained in this 28 pages. And then, I can give you the exact quote, okay, but it goes something like, or the Republic fails. You want the exact quote? Okay, let me see what I got here. No, I mean, these guys are serious. He said, the truth will set America free. I'm like, the truth will set America free. And here's another quote. I believe when a nation is attacked by a foreign element, that those people who lost loved ones, as well as the American people, have a right to know who was involved in that attack. If it steps on somebody's toes, then I'm sorry. A nation that tries to hide the truth will eventually fail. Walter Jones again. There's nothing about national security in these 28 pages. It's about relationships. It's about, now listen now, it's about agencies within our own government and also relationships with foreign governments. I stress the S. He said, this is Jones, this is more Jones. He says like this. He says, in 2003, on CBS News, George Bush said, no, I don't want to release the 28 pages. This is Walter Jones, I know why. Come on, guys, let's get it together. Because these neocons are not taking us to a happy place. In case anyone hasn't noticed, not a happy place. I'm a pessimist. It goes like this: we're running out of space to do this shit. We're in the underbelly of Russia at the moment. For a while, we kind of relaxed a little bit with the campaign to commit genocide upon ethnic Russians in the Ukraine. We've just backed off a little bit on that. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? Does everybody know what I'm talking about? Raise your hand. Come on now. You're not on it.
No, I mean, I know what you're talking about, if that's what this means.
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, look, to me, I'm sitting, man, my back's up against the front seat, okay? I've described it to you before, Dick. In August of 2013, we do a false flag chemical attack in Damascus. A false flag chemical attack. This is 9/11's false flag. Well, we've had some since. The chemical attack in Damascus in the August of 2013 is a false flag attack. Ask me about it if you don't know that.
What does false flag chemical attack really mean?
In Syria.
Well, a false flag attack is one in which you attack yourself and make it look like the other party that you want a justification to attack is responsible. A false flag, the expression comes originally from Navy ships running up a false flag so as to be viewed as the enemy they want to attack. That's what a false flag attack is. 9/11 is a false flag attack. Syria, Damascus, August 2013, false flag attack. I wrote about this. I mean, I looked at the language that Rice and Cheney and Wolfowitz used in 2002, 2003, leading up to the Iraq War. We are certain that, etc., etc. I mean, we are certain that. And do you know, you've got Kerry and Biden in August of 2013 with Obama backing them up. We are certain chemical attack. It made no sense on its face. Assad's winning the war. He knows there's this red line. The neocons are jumping up and down about can't be breached. And come to find out, this had to have come out of al-Nusra. Al-Nusra is an al-Qaeda arm in Syria whose objective is to take the Assad government out. There is a very good chance that al-Nusra got this rather substandard sarin through Bandar's offices. Oh yeah, he's active. He's active. There was some embarrassing sort of what is money doing coming out of your account and ending up in the bank accounts of hijackers? Oh well, I think I'll take a rest. So, was he banished? No, this is what happens. They put him in charge, I mean quick, when he goes back to Saudi Arabia. The National Security Council. From 2012 to 2014, Bandar, the same Bandar the bagman, is the head of Saudi intelligence. These 28 pages reveal, among other things, that he's directly involved in financing hijackers.
I just thought of something really quick. Do people remember Giuliani? Remember Mayor Giuliani, who refused a check from the Saudi government to the city of New York Do people remember? I'll bet you ask the average person on the street, they don't.
Well,
I don't remember
he
that.
refused a check from Bender.
And Giuliani would probably deny it today for you know, fuck them.
Well,
But,
he said it was
but he
Bender
was the only
himself.
one who made like a public, like, you know, like gesture of how much he at least distrusted Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
That's true.
That probably cost him any chance he had
if
with-
given an opportunity, if we're in the same room with him, someone should pose that question to him.
What question?
Well, why did you refuse that money? And then in conjunction with that, the 28 pages, you know, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, let's not forget Giuliani's role in this. I mean, it's a myriad, but one of the roles, of course, and we have plenty of testimony that establishes this, is his first priority, I mean, over anything having to do with 9/11, was get the steel out of there on a boat to China as quickly as you can, every day. Every day.
Well, that's a little tricky. I mean,
Go ahead.
he's obviously going to get that, but it's not necessarily his first priority. Clearly, there's powers above Giuliani that could say to him, "We get the steel out, and you give the order."
What's your name?
Bassett, Stephen Bassett.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Okay, but you said his first priority, and I never saw Giuliani as a quote manager of this issue.
Well,
I see him as nothing more than a pawn.
Okay, I mean, you know, we don't have to engage in this kind of talk, but you know, it looks to me like they're grooming Giuliani to be the next president. They wanted to make him the hero of 9/11, right? And you remember all that. You know, I mean, look, I saw it in the documentary about Henry Kissinger, guys. You know, my eyes are open for this. On September 12th at Ground Zero, Henry Kissinger has his arm around Giuliani talking about what a hero he is.
That's September 12th.
Yeah.
But Giuliani, possibly out of a matter of conscience, or because he just wasn't fully briefed in, when he turns down the check from Bandar, I think he screwed pooch.
Yeah.
And he was out. And as you know, when he made his presidential run, no support, collapse.
Oh, well, I don't have that. I don't have that view. It could be absolutely right, but I suggest to the contrary, and it's something that I think we need to reckon with. The folks that are involved in this type of thing, and they've been in place for a long time, they are not operating out of conscience at all.
No. The top bit isn't, no.
At all. And no, I'm not going with that. I'm not going with that. You know, he's got political reasons or image reasons, whatever the hell. There's no conscience at work there. Look, you know, I mean, an abstract theme, and then we'll get back to whatever specifics people are interested to talk about. An abstract theme. What we've managed to do, I think, across the board throughout history, hear me out, is we've given power to the worst among us. You know, the ones for whom they'll do anything for the power, and that's who's in control, and they will do anything for it, and they are doing anything for it. You know, we were discussing before dinner, you know, about how long it's been now where we've been protesting the trade of blood for oil. They'll spill as much blood they'll spill a gallon of blood for a gallon of oil. These people don't care. That's the deal. That's the deal. That is what is in our midst. That is what we're distracted from, but we cannot avoid seeing. And we finally have Congress people, I'm telling you, who think, well, I guess it's time to try to, you know, put a crack in this. It's important. It's important. It's important. These folks need support. We've got to figure out a way to support this. We've got to figure out a way for this to come out. And when it comes out, we need to make the most of it. Yeah, that's my piece.
You asked about how to get things done. Have you actually spent time with Richard Gage? Have you talked with him?
I know Richard Gage. We've spoken together on numerous occasions. I'm very close to Les Jameson. Yes, of course.
Have you suggested, or is he already thinking about appending the 28-page issue to that organization's mission statement, since they're well established already?
Okay, well, I don't know. Do people want to talk about that? We can. That might be a separate conversation. I mean, this is, after all, a presentation of the subject of 28 pages.
Well, that's why I brought 20 pages.
No, I know.